On July 2nd, 2015, Thursday, Jeff Riordan, his son Josh Riordan, and myself headed to Algonquin Park, Canada to go on a 4 to 5 day canoe trip. 4 days paddling and camping and then coming back home. First day we arrived at the portage store, checked in, and then we headed down Smoke Lake toward our goal that first night of reaching Archer Bay for a camp. This is the site of our first little portage before we pulled in later that afternoon into Archer Bay. We had a wonderful campsite, a wonderful evening, and broke in our cooking skills. Josh had made a little looked like a fly rod, a fly bottle, fishing equipment out of some rope and a Coke bottle, and he did a lot of fishing while we were there. Josh and his dad. Nice silhouette of Josh. The next day was perhaps our hardest day, heading down to what was called McGarver Lake, the southernmost part of the park. And this is when I realized throughout this day it was going to be perhaps too difficult. It was the most difficult portage where it had such rain. We had to walk several yards over marshland and to reach from Little Coon to the next lake. We sunk up in some places to our knees before we could get up onto the portage trail. We finally reached McGarvey Lake. We were the only ones there. They told us in this area that there had been bear sightings and to keep our eyes open. Our water was, there is Josh drying out some of his shoes from walking through the marsh on the one portage. We had room to look around and do a little paddling. Beautiful morning. They use kayaks, and I actually rented sort of a canoe kayak, which worked out very well. So part of the goal next day was to portage back to Archer Bay, but we found the first portage in the southern part of the park had not even been prepared. There was muck and logs laying in the trail and across the trail. And it was a long trail. That's about 3/4 of a mile, I believe. But we made it. Then we made our turn back west, up in the north, up into Porcupine Lake, where we set up camp. A little bit south where we had the first night from Archer Bay. Josh was sitting on a rock and saw, I think, what I call them rope snakes. They look like ropes. This was a fairly small one. checking for snakes again, perhaps. We only saw the one. That's off the bow. One night of my kayak canoe. We're going to drift down and see if we could spot some moose in the bay right next to us. Very quiet. We spent evenings sitting around the campfire, enjoying the beautiful views. Having fun. No TV, radio. Absorbing the solitude. Little commodes. Josh smiling in his kayak. We discovered the mosquitoes were much less bothersome if we put on our nets. And I found wearing long sleeve shirts and light long leggings certainly help prevent the bites. Tree top that looked like a moose, Jeff taking a break. Here Jeff is going to have a little sport. Notice he hasn't lost a lot of weight yet. Doing some yoga to trim up his abdomen. He adds a lot of fun to a trip, let me tell you.
Okay, now I'm moving.
He's a great team guy. Get all the sweat off.
Yep. Go.
And it was refreshingly cold. Another pit stop. Tent that I borrowed from Eric, which was just perfect. Did her own laundry, air dried. This is now back up to Archer Bay where we spent the last night, the last couple nights perhaps. Jeff is doing some fishing. Caught a nice bass. It was such a good chance just to be with my son-in-law and my grandson and introduce them to the wilderness of Canada and Algonquin. Now this is what we did for evenings. This one was trying to see who could get the rope up over the limb so we could drag up our food bags.
To put the rock up over the limb. Go. Oh, he's way off, way off, way.
This is how we spend night 4 at Algonquin. We're all a little bored, so we're playing a little game of throw the rope over the tree. There we go.
It was kind of a wimpy try. And Josh is the one that finally does it. He missed that one, but he got it, and then I was giving a little help with my psychic abilities. Here they did some more fishing. Beautiful sunset there in Archer Bay. We got a great campsite. In the morning, making our way back up the Smoke Lake. We had one short portage. You may recognize some of that from our first day. And we made it back across the long lake. The music, I give credit, comes from Dan Gibson's Solitudes in his album called Algonquin Suites. I hope you enjoyed it.